y'all. Good morning, and welcome to what will be the, I guess, bonus Chop It Up, because this will be the last week that we do Chop It Up for a little while, and we'll be coming out with a new concept as Bishop rolls out his next sermon series. I think it's going to be good. I think you're going to enjoy it. We'll keep the same formatting, same people in the conversation. Pastor LJ will be back, Minister Vince, Minister Irv. They'll be tagging along for the ride as well. Got a lot of good feedback. Thank y'all so much for supporting. And hopefully you're enjoying the new kind of hybrid model that we're doing. Creative department is taking us into that realm of getting ready for people to be in the building and at home. So whichever way you choose to worship with us, you'll be able to do that. Speaking of the creative department, check out who's in the shop with me today. I've got the creative director with me. I got the broadcast director, Gene. I've got Sam with me today. And we are going to chop it up with the creative department today because we don't rarely get to see them or hear from them because they're in the background making everything happen. But today we're going to talk a little bit. And since we are going to be recapping the Hello Fear series, one of the things I wanted to do was just kind of talk to them for a few minutes about something that they have no idea what we're going to talk about. They think they know, but they really have no idea. So we're going to jump right into it. One of the biggest fears that I think I have, and I think any creative shares in this, is the fear of messing up. The fear of messing up. I think in you all's role, one of the things that happens every Sunday is there will definitely be mistakes. Yes, sir. Yeah. Right? You try to mitigate them as much as possible, but it's going to happen, right? But I just want to talk about how difficult it is to work from week to week, knowing that in the back of all of our minds as creatives, we deal with this fear of messing up. I should have looked it up too. I guarantee you there's a word for it, but I didn't look it up. But I'm gonna start with you, Gene. Just, the fear of messing up, man. How do you manage it? How do you deal with it? How do you continue to push the envelope with that in the back of your mind?
Wow. So I think one good thing Bishop talked about when he was talking about fear, he's like, God has given us the spirit of fear, but power, love, and the translation he used was self-discipline. And that piece right there, I think that is what helps us to at least make our fear not so strong, because then we try to prepare as much as we possibly can. But that does not necessarily mean Saturday night we're asleep. I mean, it is hard to go to sleep on Saturday night because we're thinking so many things through our mind, and it's like, okay, did we get this? Did we get this? Yeah. Minister Alex, we're texting all through. It's like, y'all remember this? Y'all got that? Because as you always iterate to us, it's not so much that we're trying to be perfect for ourselves. This is ministry. Yeah. So we're trying to, if anything we might do that does not come across the right way impacts the soul we're trying to save or introduce to Jesus. So I think just the fear is, we try to mitigate, we try to make it not so, but it is real.
It is real.
The anxiety is real.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What about you, Sam?
Well, I remember at first, I was more so along the lines as, man, I can't mess up because Minister Alex or Pastor John, they going to tell me about myself. But being here and, listening to you guys speak to me, really got me to the point where it's like, I'm not doing this for them.
Right.
I'm not doing this for them. I'm doing this for God. And
absolutely,
all my sins have been forgiven and things of that nature. So it's like, I can't be scared to mess up, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
But it definitely runs through the back of my mind, but renewing the mind. Got to keep renewing my mind with that. So
good. That's good.
Yeah. I think what both of them said was definitely on it. Saturday evenings into the morning, it's hard to sleep because you think about, like Gene said, all the souls that will be affected by what you do. And no matter how hard you prepare, there's always something that can happen. And so for me, I think it's a couple ways that to get rid of fear. I think for us is preparation. We work really hard throughout the week. and people might not really know how hard we work throughout the week. On Thursdays, and they're looking at each other, I don't know what they got going on. On Thursdays, you know, and just throughout the week, just making sure that the presentation is done in excellence. But then outside of that, like we said, it's really nothing that you can do on that side. But to be honest, the fear is there. But it is just really putting it in God's hands and saying, you know, God, whatever it is that you want to happen, and that's definitely my prayer on my way to work, or church, work, whatever it is as I'm coming to church, I'm saying, God, you got this, because it's really nothing that we can do at this point because we've prepared. And so, yeah, fear is real, right? But our preparation definitely helps to get rid of that fear and really just put it in God's hands at the end of the day.
Yeah. And shout out to my sister, Minister Cheryl Little, man, on this morning, and just the way she preached,
Good
man.
word,
and
good word.
Great word. And I think even in that today, when I was listening, that helps me with messing up, right? Yeah. If we've been able to beat the bear and the lion, and we have to know that at this point that you guys are anointed to do what you do, right? It's not an accident that each one of you is in the position that you're in. And I think for me, the fear of messing up, I know that in messing up, usually God teaches us a lesson from it. True. Yeah. And so I've learned to embrace the mistakes as lessons. Right? Yeah. And so I never look at it as a loss. I try to find the teachable moment in the mistake. And so when I see us mess up something, or when I mess up in life in general, I try to find the lesson in it, right? Because you don't want to keep repeating and taking the same test over and over and over. You want to pass, you want to graduate, right? From 1.0 to 2.0 to where we are today, trying to perfect this hybrid model as we get prepared for in-person worship. Yeah. I've really tried to embrace the fact that there will be mistakes. Right. Yeah. But I never want the mistake to be something that we can't learn from, or that we repeat continuously. So, my biggest fear with messing up at this point is messing up the same way multiple times. Right. Because for me, it means that I'm not learning something. So I'm not so fearful of messing up. I'm fearful of messing up and not learning from it. You know what I mean? Good. Because I think when you don't learn from it, man, then it just means it's going to be this, it becomes a pattern. Right. And then it eventually becomes who you are. And now, you become can't get right John, or can't get right Alex. You don't want to be that guy, But, I think with this team, you guys are, of course, the leadership team for what we see week to week when it comes to production and just the visuals and the production of what happens here at the church. So I'm going to play this recap video from Hello Fear, the series. Then we're going to just come back and talk about the series and how it impacted you guys. So go ahead and play this video, which stars someone sitting in a chair. Yes. Man, okay. So where to begin with this? All right. So let's go to the media director himself. And let me just ask you, when you heard Hello Fear and then you came up with this concept for this sermon series intro, what went through your mind? How do I guess for me, it's understanding the mind of Sam Jones and how you come up with these, because at the end of the day, we, get the understanding of where Bishop is going with the sermon series or whatever, and then, you have to creatively take that and run with it. So kind of walk me through the process and then just the thought behind this particular promo.
Okay. So first off, usually me and Alex are just talking about what the series is going to be about or anything of that nature. And he just says one thing and like, all of a sudden I just see it. Like he'll explain one little concept and I'll be like, okay.
It's going like that light bulb.
And I don't even know if he knows that I'm really like understanding what he's saying, but I usually do.
I see you light up.
Yeah, so I'm just like, all right, cool. So from then it goes to, all right, where I'm gonna shoot this? Shoot it at home.
Right.
Might as well, because sometimes I get tired of shooting inside of the church. I want to go out and shoot other places, so shot it at home. Matter of fact, my fiance was actually in town and she helped me film this, so that's how that happened.
Nice.
But I just really was thinking about, at first, darkness. Maybe a little light, but just darkness, because even though there's fear, there's always some type of light there, especially since we're like the light of the world. So had to put some light in there somewhere. And then I just thought about, like he said answering the phone or something like that. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm gonna just get fear to call me.
Yeah, nice.
And then, I'm gonna answer it and that's it. And then we're gonna cut. So that's really the concept and how it came to be. So yeah.
See, you say that and it's simple for you, right?
Of course.
But there are people viewing right now that, and myself included, our minds don't work that way. So for you, you're saying it and it's just like, oh yeah, so I thought this, and then because we're the light of the world, I had a little light in there, and it's like for you, that just sounds so, but for everyone else, it's a gift, and it's appreciated because it brings another level to the sermon series, because you have these visuals you can carry with you, and so, and again, taking chances, because anytime you're putting your art out there, you're literally leaving yourself for criticism, and that can be a difficult place to be sometimes. Especially when you work for a creative.
Right.
Oh my goodness!
No, he didn't.
Oh my
No, he didn't.
That is the real.
No, we all work for it.
Exactly right.
When you work for a creative, it's just a whole nother level, because as a creative, you can kind of go to somebody that's not a creative. They can think they're creative, but you can have a conversation with them and you can be like all the way around them and they never caught it. And you're like, yeah, the reason why that was like that is because I had to do this and this and this. And they're like, oh, okay.
Right.
You go to another creative, you'd be like, well, the reason why I did it, and they're like, nah, but you could have just did this, or you could have just did that.
That's Alex sometimes.
And that's how you know when you're talking, because another creative is always going to be like, I like it. Now, what I would have done is, and you're kind of like,
or we might see it and be like, yo, I would have done that, and then it's like, but a lot of times, even with like me and Sam, our collaboration is like we kind of vibe off of one another, just kind of like me. So it's honestly, y'all, it's really like me and John will talk, and then I'll get what he's saying, and then me and Sam will talk, and then it's like everything just light bulbs just go off from one to the next. And it's just amazing how Sam is able to take vision and make it reality. Because a lot of people can't do that. Like you can say, hey man, this is what we see in our head.
So is that like innovation?
That's innovation.
Like how you
that's innovation.
He recently did something about innovation. That's why
it's not just an idea, but we're able to take ideas from Pastor John, from Bishop, and we're able to take it and make it come to life. And so that's where it's at.
And it's when you have a bishop like ours who already makes the Bible so visual.
Definitely.
To be able to kind of come, and I always say Bishop is the outfit and we're the accessories.
Definitely.
You want to have the belt and the shoes and the hat and the wallet and the jewelry that matches and enhances the outfit. The outfit was already dope by itself.
Right.
But now you're just adding these layers onto it. So it's like, we want to make sure you remember what we had on. And it's like the way you're able to do that is because of the things y'all are doing. So if you're looking at the screen, you'll see the backdrop that was used for Hello Fear. And for the people at home, this was interesting because I got a few texts about this. Like, well, what does what does graffiti have to do with Hello Fear? And I was like, well, I don't know if it has anything to do with it, right? But interesting concept behind how this all played out, and things that y'all might not have noticed from week to week. So Alex, I guess I'll come to you for this and just deal with the fact of why change the backdrops? Why, for Hello Fear, why did we need something different? Like, explain that.
Yeah, I mean, I think just like you said, Bishop he's innovative as well, and just his delivery really makes you have to think on another level. I believe that our backdrops help to tell the story that he's trying to tell. So they should work in tandem to where whatever he's saying is what we're giving. Or even our backdrops can be an inspiration to him to go in certain directions that he might not have thought of, but when we work together creatively, it really helps him to push as well as what he says helps us to do things as well. So
yeah,
that's how they work together.
So all right, I'm gonna put another picture up on the screen.
The blue.
So I want y'all to see the process of how this works. So you'll see that at the time that this concept was being developed, we were still in the I've got work to do piece. Yeah. And just I guess, Gene, especially for you with this stuff, camera angles change, how we're shooting it changes, the way we're gonna switch. Of course, people were going crazy over I've got work to do, because there were Sundays where y'all would have OATM spelled out as screws. You'd have people coming through windows with cameras. But that whole idea of how this backdrop came about, and looking at the thought process, how do you work through, I'm in a series, and I'm prepping for another series. And, what does that look like for you from week to week as you're working through that stuff?
Well, it's really good. I mean, like Alex said, from you being a creative, him being a creative, and Sam, being able to hear the input of everybody. And we realize that we're always trying to present something that looks or feels like what people already see all the time. Mm-hmm. When I look at television now, like I'm gonna see camera movement, I'm gonna see angles. So we have to do something that is somewhat comparable to what I would see to keep me engaged from what the normal is now.
Right.
And also I think about camera work is almost like when you think about musicians and how they flow, like, okay, what's our flow gonna be this time? What's our flow gonna be this time? So you try to move with whatever the spirit is doing. I look at camera angles the same way. Now this time the camera angles gotta move a different way. Yep. So however the music is blowing, okay, so it's all trying to complement the outfit that you said Bishop is wearing.
That's right.
So how do we detail that our camera moves so that belt is the camera move that kind of just fits just right with what he already is doing, so that the impact of the person on the other side can feel like they're right here.
That's good. That's real good. And so let me go to another shot. This is interesting for me. So then there's this.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And you guys, I know I presented you all with, I'm like, all right, well, Bishop's going to be doing this month. And then I come to you guys and I say, I would like to do a barbershop. Right. Real easy for me to say. Yeah. But you guys have to now take that along with everything else that's happening and figure out how to create this set. For those of you who've been to the Mount and know what room we're in the intake room. Which, I mean, for all intents and purposes, really does kind of look like a barbershop now. And just coming up with the concept of playing on the phrasing of chop it up, and then, watching what you guys came up with from the intro with chop it up with the barber chair and all of that. I just want to say thank you to you guys, because a lot of times y'all are the unsung hero. Except for Alex. Alex, my running joke with Alex is Alex's name is always going to be mentioned, right? We all agree to the fact. Alex is the Joseph or the David. It's like but we laugh about it all the time, because I think for me, I realized the amount of talent and gifts that are in this team. Definitely. Right? But when you come up with a concept and you say, hey, I really want to do, and then you walk into it and it's really what you said.
Definitely.
Like, that's not everybody's testimony. Everybody can't just go, hey, team, I want such and such. Walk out, come back 4 days later, and it's there,
Yeah.
right? And you guys do that week after week after week. I'm sure at this point in time, there's got to be some type of pressure on you guys to. It's like, what's next, right?
Yeah, it does. It makes us want to outdo ourselves.
Yeah.
But just to speak on what you're saying, the team element, you're right. It is uncommon to be able to just tell your team to do this, and then it comes to being. Like Miss Adrian, Miss Nadine, they were here, brought pictures and brought Obama, and you know, all these little things. It's like the little elements or the little details make it really work. And so we have an amazing team of volunteers that we definitely couldn't have done any of this without. So I appreciate them.
Yeah,
we all do.
Yeah, the volunteer piece, man, is major.
Huge.
You know, I think, you know, for me, not having all the volunteers be able to come in, not to mention if you haven't volunteered yet, you haven't done your peak training,
That's right.
Shameful plug, go ahead, sign up. We're ramping up towards in person, and we need you.
Thank you.
All right, so please go ahead and hit that button if you haven't done the training yet, so you can come back in here and be a part of what's happening. But I will just tell y'all, I've been amazed just at what we've done since the sermon series started. So now we're going into the third one, right? Which, so this will be the third one. Which Bishop, I'm not going to tell you sermon series, sir, but I'm just saying we get ready to go into it. I think each one has gotten a little bit better. No pressure on Bishop, but I feel like this one may be. I feel like we're still kind of going up with the sermon series. And shout out to Bishop just for being a 59-year-old young man that doesn't mind continuing to adapt and change for the sake of the people. Because at this point in time, after however many months it's been now, you know, having different presentation, having different thoughts about how to present the gospel is so paramount to people staying tuned in, especially when you can't come in the building. Because I mean, for me, church is must-see TV. Like, I want to see church now. I want to see what's going to happen next. You know, this morning, seeing the directors up there, just seeing something different, seeing, you know, the way y'all did the affirmation. And if you haven't seen the affirmation yet, you'll see it at 10. It's just like, you know, always thinking through how to do something different, man. It's amazing that you all have been able to do that. All right, so now we're going to get into a little bit of the chop it up format. So what I'm going to do now is play a little clip for you guys, then we're going to come back and talk about it. All right?
You're going to have to make up in your mind to ask God, here it is, here it is. Stop asking God to move what you've got to confront and ask God to give you the confidence to confront what he's not going to move. I just said something. Stop asking God to get rid of the things that are intimidating you and asking God to give you so much confidence in who he is that you will face that which looks overbearing and insurmountable. I've learned several things. Number one, if we're going to face it, y'all ready? Let's walk down this street. If we're going to face it, if we're going to face it, if we're going to face it, the first thing you got to learn how to do is edify the presence. Okay, see if I can show it to you. I never really watched it this way or seen it this way. Psalm 23 verse 4, it says, even when I walk through the valley of the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me. Okay, you just missed the turn. I'm going to stay there and work with you. It says in the King James Version, yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. I love the way it says it in the New Living Translation. It says, for you are close beside me. Watch this. Everybody in the room, we don't have many, but I'm going to give you a nugget right now. Now, Minister Earl, this is crazy because I got a whole new value that I put on praise now. Because praise is the only thing that prevents God from ever leaving my side. The Bible makes it clear that he inhabits the praises of God. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to leave it right there. So, when I heard Bishop preach Face It, I think I was like, oh, man. This is going to be a series, you know, and I went into Face It a little bit nervous. It was kind of amazing because what he was saying kind of applied directly to how I was feeling that day. Because the series for me have been kind of I quietly probably have panicked because Bishop isn't normally a series preacher, and then you're hoping that your promos and your intros and your graphics and everything actually is going to work. But you kind of, I guess, for lack of a better way of saying it, become fearful of whether or not you're gonna land. It's gonna land right. You know. But I think in listening to him, I realized that, you know, if we're anointed to do this, we have to trust that God has equipped us to be able to be who we're supposed to be for this ministry and enhancing and serving both God and the vision of bishop and elder, right? Yeah. And, you know, that face it, man, that, you know, just that whole clip when he talks about it, and it's just like, you know what am I afraid of?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know, what am I really afraid of? I think we put a pressure on ourselves sometimes that we don't have to. And I know in talking to this group, it's interesting because if there's anybody that will probably feel pressure, put pressure on themselves, it's us four.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's us four. Yeah. You know, and I think some pressure is good, but I think too much pressure can break you. Yeah. You know, and so it's trying to find that healthy balance of I want to get this, I want to do as good as possible for God, but at the same time, God has equipped me to be enough.
Right. That's good.
You know, and when I heard that clip, it was just kind of like I walked away saying I can face it because I'm enough.
Right.
You know, and I don't know if any what y'all's takeaways were, man, but
sheesh. He pointed right to me. To me, that whole clip, I think I've seen it about 4 times. But to me, that whole clip is like, you know, fighting the good fight of faith, because that's when you depend on, you know, your faith the strongest, when you're going through something. And if we're intentionally not gonna go through it, how are we supposed to build our faith? How are we supposed to, I guess, ultimately please God? Because I mean, that's what pleases God. So hearing that was like, man, I can't run from this. Right. I cannot run from having to run a production meeting that I may not really want to run. Right. Because sometimes that's a little nerve wracking. But or like taking over if Minister Alex can't be here, like I can't run from that. God's with me. So
that's good. I think what you say when you have to face like your fear, facing your fear with faith, it's like it makes you grow, like you said. And I mean, I'm the same way. It just like you're thinking about running the meeting, I'm thinking about running a department. Yeah. And it's different because, of course, 3 years ago, I'm just a graphic artist. And I am not just, but graphic artist and worship leader. But fast forward to now being a director over an entire department, having people who not only volunteer, but also have people who have jobs, lives, families behind it. It definitely could be a fearful thing because you want to know that you are enough in order to build people to be better than you know how they are. And so, you know, just facing your fears really help you to go to the next level. They help you to fulfill your purpose. And that's kind of really where I am now. It's really like, God, I want to fulfill my purpose. And most of the times I'm realizing in order to fulfill your purpose, you have to face the fear, you know, that it comes along with going to that next level. So I think that's really big, man, facing the faith.
Yeah, that's good. I'm getting ready to play something else, and then I'm going to come to Gene.
Don't let fear do all the talking. This is not a monologue. This is a dialogue. You're going to send something to me, I'm going to send something back to you. Every time you tell me what I can't do, I'm going to tell you greater is he that is in me. Every time you tell me I'm going to die sick, I'm going to send something back to you that says the chastisement of my peace is upon him, and with his stripes I am healed. Every time you send fear to me to tell me what I can't afford, I'm going to send something back to you that says my God shall supply all my needs according to his riches and glory. So
all right. Woo. Now, the reason why this one sticks out to me when it comes to Gene is just, you know, knowing a little bit of your personal testimony and saying, you know, I don't know if I know anybody like Gene.
Right.
Like, seriously. And I say that as sincerely as possible. Gene is just different. And with everything that Gene has going on in his life, Gene is always going to come in with, he is the epitome of that clip.
Definitely. Yeah.
I mean it. Like, I mean, and when I heard that clip, I saw Gene. It was like, if there was a poster child for that clip, it's Eugene Griffin.
That's right.
This dude is like, you know, I mean, hey, Gene, how you feeling? I'm not feeling good right now, but I'm going to be better in Jesus' name. You'd be like,
Well, dang.
And I mean, I've been like literally convicted before and said, you know what? I am a horrible believer. I am a horrible Christian. Am I even saved? Because Gene has this uncanny ability to exude faith. Like, and so, man, like when you hear that clip, is it just, I mean, I don't know. Is it confirmation? Is it, you know, what is that for you?
It's confirmation. It's encouragement. You know what Bishop said earlier, he said, talking about when you walk through the valley, he is close beside me. Oh my God, when I'm in the valley, he is close beside me. So if he's close beside me, I don't have to lean to my own understanding. I don't got to lean to my own personal conviction about how I feel right now. I don't got to lean to my own peace of mind. He's close. He's so close beside me, he'll just take over. And if I don't feel good, I'll start to feel good. If I'm stressed, I'll start to be in peace because he's close beside me. If I'm in the valley, he's close beside me. So how can I say anything negative? How can I be, out of the power of my mouth is what's going to be my reality.
Exactly.
Power of life and death is in my mouth. So if I say it, it's going to be what I wanted to say. So that's exactly what Bishop was. Hey, man, it's not about what you feel. It's not about what you showed up. We was up here one day, truck wouldn't start. And hey, we working, doing all we can. Truck wouldn't start. But that's all right. The next day, God is good. It doesn't matter because eventually if we say it enough, it's going to start to, if I say it enough, it's going to start to change. If we believe it enough, it's going because when I'm in the valley, oh my God, he close beside me in the valley.
That's good.
Think about your faith like,
right. But it's, you know, and working with Gene, and I mean, we all work with Gene. I think, you know, one of the benefits of this job, this ministry, is the connection.
Definitely.
You know, and, you know, the Bible talks about iron sharpening iron. And, you know, I always say it sounds good until you realize the process of sharpening iron. That means that there's got to be pressure and there's got to be friction. But to watch, you know, sometimes what Gene goes through, but to also at the same time watch how he handles it. Meanwhile, being probably one of the dopest broadcast directors, you know, period. Right? Like, period. Not even like, you know, well, in this area, in this city. No, I mean, just period. Like, really, really, really that good that people all around know who Eugene Griffin is. But to watch him go through the way he goes through has helped to make me better. Right? Because, and I remember when Sam was like, you know, hey, look, you know, all this plan B, plan C, what about faith? You know, those are moments where, you know, I ain't never gonna forget that because it helped me though, because it challenged me to be able to explain why you have contingencies, but can still have faith, right? Because planning doesn't mean you don't have faith, but it's how you present it. If you present it like, I know we gonna mess up, so. Well, that's not responsible because it's not that we're going to mess up. It's that we're going to have a plan so that if something doesn't go as planned, we've got a contingency, right? But that doesn't mean because we messed up or I'm expecting somebody to mess up. It just means we're human. And because we're human, let's plan for being human. Because if we were deity, if we were God, then of course it'd be perfect. But, you know, but watching how each of you operate, you know, has been like, it has helped me. So, you know, I just think that part though for me, that's your testimony all day long, man.
I don't even think Pastor John realized, like, he pastors us all the time. Like sometimes we have to go into your office and have a talk. It's more like he's being a pastor rather than a boss. And I appreciate that for sure. So just wanted to give you roses.
Nah, man. He's gonna back it up with the word.
That's the thing. You can't argue. You can't argue.
Pull out this big Bible.
Laid it right in the thing. He was like, all right, so
I said, oh my God.
I was like, this is real.
I mean, so he correlate anything that he's talking to us about, he can definitely back it up with the word. So definitely, he is Pastor John, not just in title. But
hey man, I'm telling my secrets.
Not just chief of staff.
No one knows all of that. Y'all leave that in the back room. No, I mean, I think for me, man, I never want you all to just be the guy that's just spewing a bunch of opinion, because I've been there. Where people are giving you their opinions and they're making it, you know, truth. And you're like, when you go back and read for yourself, you're like, nah, because I'm not doing this for you. I get it. For me, for everyone, it'll be different, I guess, if you're employed here, right? But for me, it's all ministry. Yeah. And so everything I do it as unto the Lord, because someday there may come a time where, I ain't feeling Bishop about something. So it can't be about me doing it for Bishop. Right. Or there is the possibility that there's going to be a day where I'm like, man, I don't even care because I ain't feeling Bishop right now. So if I'm doing it for Bishop, it's going to drop off at some point, right? Yeah. Because we're human, and that moment's going to happen. There are days where, I know you probably not been happy with Alex or with me. I know it's been days where you were like, if you don't quit talking to me, Alex has literally threatened me, Really? So, it is what it is, but we still do what we do as unto the Lord, right? Yeah, that's true. And I think that's what keeps all of us grounded. But, so I got another clip for you guys. All right, let's go on another one. Let's play this one.
Every now and then, God ain't got time for you to wait 30 days. God ain't got time for you to hear another voice. God wants you to move right now. I don't know who I'm talking to. Sometimes God doesn't want you to pray about giving. He wants you to give. He wants to see, do you have enough faith in me to conquer the fear that's in you and say, even if I don't know how God is going to work it out, I'm going to jump on out here and go to work. Even if I don't know how it's going to play out, I know that He that began a good work in me is going to complete what He started. I'm talking to you right now, and I got 2 words for you. I got 2 words for you. I got 2 words for you. Get moving. There it is. Get moving. There it is. Get moving. You don't need more prayer. You don't need more Bible. You need to get yourself up and start doing something.
He looked right at me.
That man talking to our souls right there. You hear me? I think for me, 2 things. First off, the cinematography of the preaching moment has gone to such a level that, even if you wanted to ignore what he was saying, Gene, your ability to direct the camera operators and to get the shot, it just makes what he's saying. There were people at home probably going, I don't know where I'm moving to, but I'm about to get moving. I'm going because right now. This man is looking right at you, like at that point. And I think that message for me was so impactful because I don't know about you guys, and this is gonna go into more of a discussion point beyond hello fear for just, what you did. I've gone through those phases where I'm always like, Lord, show me a sign. Lord, send someone. I heard them, but send me a sign and let me know that this is truly you. And it's like, it's there. Right. Like, it's there. Like, why are you waiting and what are you waiting for? And so I just want to know if it's maybe it's just me. No. But I know for me, there are times where I really would love for God to confirm it like 3-4 times for me. Just to be sure, before I jump out there, even though that challenged me and it really forced me to say, okay, what am I waiting on? Right.
I guess for me, I'm going to keep telling my testimony over and over again, but my testimony was I was the graphic artist and the worship leader, and now the end of 2019, I felt like a heavy move from God to tell me your season of leading worship is up. And so for me, I've been leading worship at a church since I was 16 years old. Right. And so to go to Pastor Teron, shout out to Pastor T, Mount Virginia Beach, to go to him and tell him, sit in his office and say, hey, you know what? I think God is telling me my season is up, but I don't know what's next. Yeah. So it was a place that was definitely uncomfortable because I didn't know, he didn't say, okay, well, next you're going to be doing this. And most of the times I realized that God never really tells you the end result. He just, he tells you the end. He doesn't tell you the process to get to the end. Right. So I'm like, okay, you're telling me to stop, but I don't know what's next. So we talked to Bishop. And I'm like, Bishop, I don't know what's supposed to happen next. I said, I'll do graphics for a couple of hours and then I'll go home. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And so it ended up happening to where we came up with the position creative director, and January 2020 is when I started, and March 2020 is when the pandemic hit, and everything just kind of became this heavy media thing.
Yeah.
So now I'm in a position now that would allow me to give my full time to this place, to the Mount, and to be able to take us with Pastor John to wherever we are now. And it's been such a journey. Yeah. But I didn't see it then. I didn't know that was what he was calling me to do. But I had to trust him. And it was tough because I didn't know how my money was going to look, because I knew I was saying, well, I'll just go part-time. You know, I had a growing family. I had a baby. You know, it was crazy. My wife was pregnant. Yeah. And so in all of this, just saying, okay, God, I trust you. And it was a struggle to go to his office to tell him what God told me, though. That's what most people, you know, it's a struggle. I didn't want to do it, but I felt so strong. I knew God was saying, okay, you got to make this move. And to be confirmed that it was the right move, it makes you feel good. And I honestly do think that sometimes it gives you just a little bit more faith to trust God. Yeah, absolutely. But the thing about it is now what I'm realizing, he's calling for more. And then you're like, dang, okay, I already jumped off this bridge. Now I got to jump off another one. Yeah. And so it's like, it's always your next level. It's always your next season.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Arlene Norman. You're awesome too. She said you guys are awesome. Well, you're awesome too. You're probably talking to those three, but you're awesome too. You know, I think for Alex, his testimony was, here's what's crazy, right? Alex's testimony, and I don't think I've ever told him this, but Alex's testimony helped me make decisions. Wow. Because me coming on as chief of staff was a huge leap. When he talked about get moving and you're waiting 30 days and you're trying to do this and trying to do that, that was me. Wow. Because even once, you know, that position was even introduced and presented to me, I wasn't in a position where I was working a job I enjoyed. It's definitely my passion. You know, anybody that knows me knows I'm an analytical person. So being a senior military analyst was just like, okay, I can do this for the rest of my life. You know, like I have no issue with this, you know. But to make that jump, that leap, and to go somewhere where you don't know where God is taking you, you really don't know the future of it, right? It's not a career path that no one in class ever said, I want to be a chief of staff when I grow up. No one ever says that. Like, that's not a thing, right? Yeah. So, you know, I think for me, watching Alex and watching the journey and watching how God has taken care of him and his family helped me be confident. And so I think one of the things we've never talked about in Chop It Up, but I think is really true, is sometimes you can overcome fear through someone else's journey. That's good, sir. Very true. Right? Because your journey will parallel somebody else's in some fashion. Right. And sometimes you can avoid certain parts of the journey and take the bypass. Definitely. By looking and seeing how somebody else went. It's like mornings, I call Alex. We both drive the same way into work. And I will call him and I'll say, hey, Alex, what's the traffic like at the split? And he'd go, yeah, it's pretty backed up. Well, thank God he was in front of me, because now what I do is I jump on Military Highway and go a different route. But the reason why that can happen is because somebody went before me and I can look at what is happening in their lives. Now, that's not a positive for him, but what I'm saying is ultimately, though, you can look at other people's journeys and it can help you to kind of, you know, fast forward a little bit and not be so bogged down in the minutia of what happens, you know, in life. And so Alex was, I mean, me and him, I have an affinity for all the directors, but I worked with Alex the longest, you know, and so for me, there's of course no favorites, like you know, but you know, I think I've grown to know Alex best because it was daily. Yeah, man. You know, and then, you know, even when you came on board, it was more closely related than other staff members. Same thing with you, where you're constantly working with each other all the time, to where you start to learn each other's moods. They're like, "Dag, Sam, what's wrong? You tired?" "Yeah, you know, because you start to learn each other. Or, "Gene, what's wrong? You all right?" "No, I'm not feeling good today." Okay, you learn the moods, you learn the behaviors. And I think, you know, the journey, man, is so important, because understanding where we were at the beginning of the pandemic, Alex with the newborn, and, you know, trying to juggle all these different things, and just stepping into a new position. And now that position goes from just being a position to being the position, you know. And now Joseph, the guy with the so many colors, and, you know. And
we ain't hating though. We ain't hating though.
No, not at all. We ain't gonna throw you in the pit. No, we're gonna throw you in the pit. But understanding, you know, that journey, and looking at it, and looking at how God has provided along the way, because you went from, I got time, I'm gonna build the team up, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna have peak training, to
We had one
go.
peak training.
You know, like, and so just amazing how God operates. God knew.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's
Like the fact that he knew.
Yeah.
There were meetings prior to the pandemic that were leading into the pandemic where we had no clue the pandemic was coming.
Right.
Where God was literally prompting different people in the circle to either bring certain items to the table, or for Bishop to make certain decisions that we couldn't have even imagined that the building was going to be closed. But because God knew, and he placed it upon Bishop and Elder to make certain moves, we were able to make a pivot that a lot of churches couldn't make. So, you know, not saying other churches didn't hear from God, but I'm just saying, I just think Bishop, maybe he got better hearing. That joker was right. Because he got this. I mean, he moved, and you know, and it says a lot about our leadership that they're willing to move with the cloud. You know, with the pillar of fire, they're like, "Hey, it's moving, go!" Like, you know, and they follow it. So as they follow the presence of God, I have no issue with following them. And it definitely takes away some of the fear you would have when you know you got leadership.
That's good.
That is definitely hearing from God. All right, so I think this is the last clip. I'm gonna play this. We'll be right back.
While you at home wrestling with the fear of inadequacy, don't you know that you have the opportunity to overcome that inadequacy? You're supposed to be the supervisor. You're supposed to be the person that is making decisions, but you're allowing somebody else to fool you into thinking that you don't qualify. We always have to worry about this first fear, which is the fear of inadequacy. And the way you deal with it is to realize, I don't have any qualifications of my own. All my qualifications come from God. And if God said I'm the head and not the tail, who am I going to believe? If God said I'm above and not beneath, who am I going to believe? If God said this is who I am, if God says I'm anointed, if God says I'm delivered, if God says I'm gifted, if God says I'm talented, I've got to learn how to deal. So I pray for everybody today that's wrestling with, number one, the fear of inadequacy. But watch.
That's
Wow.
good. That's good.
Wow.
The fear of inadequacy, man.
Wow.
You know, I think this group, especially, there are days where, if you're not careful, you'll feel like you're not enough, or maybe I'm not as good as I should be. Me and Alex had this conversation. I know he recently kind of taught something on this. One of the biggest problems with being a creative is that people try to compare. And you'll always pour your heart into things and then have somebody say to you what they saw somewhere else. That was pretty good, but did you see what Bishop Chase did? Or did you see what, you know, Dr. Jamal Bryant did? Or did you? And you're sitting there in your mind sometimes going, man, you know, am I not enough? And if you're not careful, the enemy has a way of presenting you with things, that this list that will make you feel inadequate. So in your day-to-day life and how you approach what you do, right? How do you combat that? And I'll start with Gene and come around the whole room. How do you combat that to make sure that you don't allow that fear of inadequacy and that spirit to creep up in you?
I think the fear of inadequacy for me is one of the most horrible things, because it'll cause you not to move. Because if you feel like you aren't inadequate, I won't put that application in because I'm inadequate.
Right.
If I'm inadequate, I won't try to go talk to such and such because I'm not good enough to begin with. And in creativity, hey, if I don't got this camera, I can't make that shot. If I don't got this lens, I can't make that shot. And it'll make you feel like you won't even try.
Right.
But you'll be amazed what you can do with an iPhone. You could be amazed what you can do with anything. And I think one of the greatest things that we have learned is that it's not about what you have on the outside, it's who you got on the inside who can show you how to work with what you got.
Come on.
And so we can have whatever type of equipment we got. We may not have what Hollywood has, but we got the anointing, we got the oil on us. So our little $50 can look like your $5,000.
Come on.
But inadequacy will try to make me not even try.
Yeah.
It'll make me be like, no, because I don't have it. Because I'm looking at them other people. So, well, they got this, they got that. It's not about what I got.
Right.
About who I got.
That's good.
That's
That's
true.
good.
Inadequacy.
Follow that up.
Right.
I'm gonna try. The way, and that's crazy because like lately I've been dealing with that, not really here, but outside of my job life, because I do cinematography, photography, all that. And one thing that I try to keep reminding myself is that I'm made in His image and His likeness. There is nothing inadequate about me because I'm a part of His creation. That's what makes me like excellent. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I try to keep meditating on that day in and day out. And I notice that when I do meditate on that, it's when I'm in my most creative space. Because, I mean, God is the creator. So I'm like,
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
if we're constantly tapping into that thought, like, I honestly feel like we will always produce excellence. So
That's good.
that's how I feel about it.
Great.
That's real good.
Yeah.
Man, you just, we'll come back to that. Yeah. That was good.
Yeah, that was really good. I mean, I'll just say self-doubt is paralyzing. And it's kind of like going to what Gene says. It will hold you in a place that you feel that you can't even do it. You feel like you can't do it, so you don't try.
Right.
And, you know, I'm at a place just personally where I'm saying, my son, he's had us watch this movie called Luca. And we've watched it maybe 10 times. So, Ethan, God bless you. So Luca has a friend, and the friend was telling him how to silence your fear. And so the friend says, you know, they were about to jump off this like thing into the water. He was like, anytime I get scared, I say Silencio Bruno, because his fear. He said, if the voice in your head is Bruno, so tell your fear silence. So I just been thinking about that thing. Like anytime, you know, I feel God is leading me to do something, and I feel my self-doubt coming on, I'm like Silencio Bruno, because I don't want to hear you, I don't want to see you, because if I allow that to happen, I'll look up and I'll be whatever years old saying what I should have done when I should have just taken the leap of faith and just done it, man.
That's good. That's real
Silencio.
good.
Silencio Bruno.
That's right.
Silencio Bruno. Put that in the chat. That's good. And you know, I think, guys, man, I on behalf of the entire ministry fellowship, man, thank y'all. Thank y'all for your approach. Thank you for your commitment and dedication, and thank you for your professionalism, because there are a lot of long days. There are a lot of, you know, sacrifices made. There's a lot that's unseen, that no one will ever know. For some people, it's, hey, can you guys do this? The answer is yes, but it ain't as easy as what you're saying, right? And I know that even from my standpoint, there are times where I come to you guys and I say, "Can you do this?" And I'm learning to not ask, "Can you do it?" but is it feasible to do this now?
Right.
Or is the requirement feasible in the timeline that we have? Because what I've come to realize is, if I can say it, y'all can do it.
Right.
It's just, how long is it gonna take?
Right.
I can do anything.
Technically.
How long?
Right. And so, you know, just understanding that and realizing what you guys have brought to the table, along with your teams, is amazing. Hello Fear, the series, of course, the sermons happen without us, right? But the package and everything that went along with it does not happen without you all and so many others. So thank you for what you did for the Hello Fear series. Now, sneak peek into what's going to be happening, because everybody was like, well, we don't want Chop It Up to go away. Well, Chop It Up is going to go away, but starting next week, if Amazon and the Lord and everything else comes together and says the same, we will be doing a series, we'll be doing 3 weeks of something called No Games Played.
Come on.
No Games Played. So the guys will be back in here, Pastor LJ, Minister Vince, and Minister Irv, along with some special guests from week to week. But we will be tackling some of the things that were discussed even last month. We'll go into some new topics, but it's going to still be real, raw, and relevant. We're not going to back away from that, and we're going to have some tough conversations about things that we all want to talk about as believers, but we just don't want to talk about around other people because we don't want people to question whether or not we really are saved. We are saved, but we got questions, and we got conversations we want to have. So we'll definitely be doing that. So, you know, in our final moments, right? First off, I didn't play the clip, but shout out to Sam's mom.
Oh yeah.
If y'all saw the promo that had the hooded fear, it was almost like, you know what I thought about when I saw that?
What?
You know the what's Kermit called when he's got the hood on?
Oh yeah, I know you talking about.
I don't
Some
remember.
ratchet stuff. I don't know.
The Muppet with the dude, like I was just like, man, he done went and got the evil Kermit, like, you know, like that's the vibe, you know, and you know, just to look at that, man, you did a great job
You did a
with
really good
using
job.
your mom and
Thank you,
thank you,
mom.
Mom.
Her name's Martha Jones. Martha
Sis
Jones.
Martha, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, and just you know, just the creativity of it and the people that are willing to be involved. We've had several promos where we've had different people in there. I know we also had one that had Mariah. Mariah was in one as well, and so, you know, and of course Sam is in all the other ones. You know, but I love that fact that you get to see Sam in front of the camera, and not just behind the camera.
I told Sam he's an actor. Like I told him, I was like, Sam, you can act. I think I told him one time.
did.
I was like, Sam, I want you to act like when you answer the phone, hello, have some
confidence.
Confidence, and he was like, hello.
Sometimes I do not want to do it.
But also, you know the story of Jonathan, the guy who spray painted Hello Fear. They said that you know, he was so impacted by the word of Bishop and everything that he sold back into the church, and you know, he's done so many things even for us as he spray painted, but he just impacted his life. So you know, that was amazing that just having creatives who are outside the church, they realize that there's an oil on this church enough to want to sow back into it and not only help us through that.
Man, listen, Hello Fear the series, you know, thank you to Bishop for just being open to what the Holy Spirit was telling them to preach on. Definitely continue to pray for our spiritual leadership. You can't preach on fear and the enemy not be mad. So continue to cover them in prayer. Continue to cover the ministry in prayer, because I know the enemy's mad about that. Because one thing that keeps us from all that God wants us to be is our fear, because it paralyzes us and it causes us not to move out into the things that God is calling us to do. You know, and final note before we get out of here, I wish I had it. Oh, I wish I had it right now. But, you know, if y'all ever wondering why Sam is so confident, and I'm gonna do it before it's all said and done. I'm going to play y'all a clip of Sam. Y'all may not know this, but Sam Jones was the drum major at VSU. VSU is an HBCU. Yes, Sam was doing those dance moves. Yes, and he was good at them. So Sam is a bona fide leader. He is not just, you know, some guy that holds a camera. He's obviously a musician. And on top of that, he had some choreography too. So you know, at some point in time, I'm gonna play the clip and let y'all see.
Oh, Lord. Let's pray he forgets.
I'm gonna let y'all see. I'm gonna let y'all see Martha's baby getting it done on the field. But you know, it's been fun hanging out with you guys, man. I appreciate you guys. Can't thank you enough. I know y'all got stuff to do, so I'm gonna get y'all out of here. But man, it is time for us to get ready to go into 10 o'clock worship. Don't click off. Stay on. Definitely get ready to get an awesome word from from one of probably the guys that I'm closest to at this church.
Yeah.
And my brother, Minister Robert Cooper, on today. So please, please, please stay tuned in. And now, y'all, it's time for us to get ready to go to our new presentation of the affirmation. So if you're in the building, go ahead, stand up on your feet and recite it with us. And if you are at home and you ain't got nothing else to do, you can stand up too. Okay. But we know most of y'all ain't standing up at home. Y'all cheating. But y'all need to get conditioned because it's almost time to come back in the building. And we can't wait to see you. God bless you, love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. We'll see you on the other side of 10 a.m. service.